We went on strike, and supposedly we reached terms that we could live with. But now, after the election, there seems to be some backtracking.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
Since you are in the Longshore Association, I'd love to talk to you about the strike and its aftermath and particularly the most recent news about the ILA pausing negotiations as management continues to not move on some of the really important objectives for the union. So just starting with the strike, can you remind folks why you were at odds with the ocean carriers and why it was important that the ILA go out on strike?
Yes, I'll give it a pull. Again, I'd have to remind people our contracts used to run 3 years at a time. We've now graduated to 6-year contracts. And in the last 6 years, we've fallen behind in supportive kind of wage structure and benefits. So, of course, one of our big pushes this time was to catch up with wages and benefits as we move forward in this lucrative business. We've lived up to our deals. We told management that if they address our concerns on automation, that we'll give them the work. We'll make up the numbers they need to be productive. And since that contract 6 years ago, they've been very, very productive. Thanks to our labor, they've made a lot of money, which is the goal, we know. Our goal is to share in some of that profit. As far as our membership is concerned, we want them to be able to live, respectively in this environment. And so as we started to talk this time, we wanted to be assured that we got the opportunity to improve our benefits, improve our wages, just as they've improved their profit margins. And so negotiations are going along fine, in my opinion. And we were working on some things that would be transformative to our people and people to come. However, after the election, I should say, and I think this is an important contributor, they started to stag on the automation piece. And we believe that we can have all the jobs in the world, but if they're automated, they're not benefiting the workers as well as they should be. So we have reached an agreement on the automation piece. We told them that we would outproduce currently what they're receiving from automated workforces around the globe. And we agreed to a number. And those numbers, we at the union side was successful in living up to everything we promised and bargaining. And for those reasons, we are pretty upset that they're now starting to change course. We went on strike, and supposedly we reached terms that we can live with. But now that after the election, there seems to be some backtracking, and they're sort of digging in on the automation piece. And that's, I may as well call it straight. We want jobs. We want to make them productive. But we are not going to assist in eliminating ourselves.
Right. Hey, 5 seconds. Just wanted to say that this is only possible because of our donors. If you want to see more of this, then consider donating yourself at tvlr.fm/donate. I want to talk to you some more about that, the automation piece, and the role that you think potentially the results of the election are playing in the ocean carriers, and how they are negotiating with you. But staying on the strike, what did you make of all the vitriol that came at the Longshoremen's Union during the strike, and in part in its aftermath, as folks really from sectors of both sides of the political spectrum. There were people that were saying that y'all were not being loyal to Biden, and then there were the conservative business types that were saying that you make too much money. Like, how did you and your members take those kinds of those kinds of reactions from people who have obviously never worked the kinds of jobs that you do?
We say focus on our mission here because people don't understand almost everything they put on their backs, they use in their homes, they use around them, are shipped in, and we get to test those things. We a vital part of helping this country enjoy all the things that we enjoy. And we take that seriously. We are committed to doing our part. For those people that think we make too much money, they have to have experienced the things, the danger that's ever present on our jobs, and the loss of lives that have occurred very often on our job. So we are focused on that. We know the role that we play. We love for the country and all the people to understand that we're not trying to get rich off of what we do. We want to be able to live just like every other American live, and be the beneficiary of those things. We have to we have to feed our family. We have to send our kids to school just like everybody else does.
Right.
To prepare them for the future. And so for people to assume that we make a lot of money, compared to what? Compared to who? We are advocates.
Not compared to your bosses.
Not compared to them at all. But, we realize a contract is a contract. When we say to them at the table, look, if you live up to your part of the contract, we are definitely going to live up to ours. And so our whole mission, once we achieve our contract that's agreeable, we go to work. We tell our people we got to deliver if we're going to continue to reap the benefits.
And so you mentioned that y'all came to you came to an agreement about wages, and that was a 62% pay increase over the next 6 years. It's important to have that tag on it. It's not 62% immediately; it's 62% over the next 6 years. And it's also worth noting that I don't even think that quite gets you to parity with the West Coast longshoremen. We've been talking about pensions lately as kind of a theme on the program, and there are even a couple of ports on the East Coast that don't have pensions. I think Houston and Philadelphia, I think, are the ones that I saw that do not have pensions, and then some of the other pensions that do exist at some of the other ports are not as generous as on the West Coast. So really, the ocean carriers are getting a really good deal, frankly, and they should be grateful to y'all for doing what you do. But you got kind of a tentative agreement on the wages, and so you agreed to go back to work until January while you hammered out the automation language. And we've been talking about recently that the carriers have kind of dug in on the automation stuff, and the ILA has paused negotiations, basically saying that right now management is not negotiating in good faith. And you mentioned the election a couple of times. Do you think that the results of the election maybe have emboldened the employers to take a stronger negotiating position? And do you anticipate a strike come mid-January when this kind of contract extension expires?
Well, I can tell you this. I'm not looking forward to one, but if our demands aren't met and they are resolved not to move anymore, there will be a strike. And like you said, the perception of us doing so good is skewed, and people really have to do a little better research. Yeah, I think the attitude we got more entrenched after the election. But when you look at the election, it's favoring big businesses, it's favoring not everyday people like you and I, and they are sort of encouraged about that approach. But I'm here to tell you, we are just as dug in on delivering to the working class all that they deserve to keep this economy moving. And we're not going to go to sleep on that issue. We're going to stand and fight for it. So I think they understand, because tentatively, early on, they agreed to the two major things: that we would deal with this wage gap that we've been experiencing, and then that we would deal with the automation piece. We dealt with last contract effectively. We delivered what they said the robots were delivering and more. And of course, they made more money. So we're saying now that we've lived up to it, and we plan to live up to this next contract. But they're more entrenched in their position, and I got to say, so are we. We plan to go back to work and get things done. All that's predicated on a decent agreement that, like the last time, we more than delivered, and I think we're looking forward to the same kind of cooperation from them.
All right. Well, appreciate that update on the Longshore situation, brother.
You just saw a clip from the Valley Labor Report. We are live every Saturday morning from 9:30 a.m. till 12:30 p.m. And we pride ourselves on keeping all of our content free to everybody so that we can talk to as many working folks as possible. If you support the work that we're doing, you think that it's important, you think that it's good, then consider making a monthly contribution to the project, and you can do that on our website, tvlr.fm.